Global happenings today. We communicate, we analyze global news. Stay tuned.
Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to Global Happiness Today. Another sit at home is around the corner. Another Monday. Some call it a holy Nnamdi Kanu's day. Some call it Ghost Monday. Some call it sit at home Monday. Whichever one you're used to is around the corner, and it looks like the indigenous people of Biafra have decided to change the narrative once and for all. Don't forget that we have things like autopilot already going on. And for quick refresher, the indigenous people of Biafra at the beginning called for sit at home. Ever since then, they have actually suspended it, but only to hold only days that Master Nnamdi Kanu will be called in court, will be appearing in court. But unfortunately, the autopilots have taken over, but the indigenous people of Biafra have decided to do the needful, not just do the needful, but that decided to change the narrative. This may be a case of brothers coming against brothers. Before we go to the news proper to find out the newest tactics they will be employing in a few hours' time, I'd like you to subscribe to our channel by clicking on the red subscribe button. Beside it, you will see a bell notification icon. Please go ahead, click on it to get notified as soon as we update our channel on YouTube. Well, after several warnings and calls to end the Monday sit at home without success, the indigenous people of Biafra, Ipob, has vowed to tackle the enforcers of the order directly. The group said in a statement issued on Sunday by its media and publicity secretary, Powerful, that, I quote him, "We realize that some unscrupulous politicians and elements are recruiting cultists and criminals to come against our innocent citizens in the name of enforcing non-existent Monday sit at home in Biafra land, especially the ones in Enugu State and other states in Biafra land." The indigenous people of Biafra, Ipob for short, disclosed it was aware these criminals are mobilizing to attack innocent citizens in the name of enforcing non-existent sit at home, which Ipob has suspended a long time ago. We are informing those enforcing non-existent Monday sit-at-home order to retrace their steps or be ready to contend the indigenous people of Biafra under Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, who initiated Monday sit-at-home order but stopped it for obvious reasons. We have said it before that indigenous people of Biafra will release its security outfit to chase those involved in enforcing non-existent Monday sit-at-home. We can't fold our hands and watch base fellows unleash mayhem on innocent Biafrans on Mondays under the guise of enforcing non-existent sit-at-home order. Enough is enough. Those bringing down innocent people in the name of enforcing sit-at-home order on Mondays are not the indigenous people of Biafra members. IPOB cannot be part of the destruction of the same people we are laboring to emancipate. Laboring to emancipate. We don't waste lives. We protect them. We protect lives. Evil politicians in Biafra land are the ones creating tension because of their selfish political interest. Quite a lot of reactions have chilled it. I could still remember that the indigenous people of Biafra had an often time insisted that this sit at home have been cancelled. But we have autopiloters that are insisting that they move. They'll just tell you Mazi Kanu is still in detention and autopilot continues, we move. That's the slogan, we move. But lives are going down every day. Don't forget that there have been a terrorism charge on Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And even if the lawyers are doing so well to see how they can, ensure that, the whole thing that the government is trying to level against him is baseless, it doesn't, hold waters and all that. But the conduct of the people, his followers, need to be very sane. It needs to be commended. It needs to be such that I must say, I give it to Powerful. He tries so much For every negative media coverage, he tries to counter it immediately. He speaks quite often, I must say. But the autopiloters, I don't know if they have the reasons, according to them. If they do not continue to sit at home, the government of the day will relax and they'll forget about him. And the Nnamdi Kanu may just be in the detention and wrath for a long while. But because of the sit at home that is constantly being enforced, even though the indigenous people of Biafra, who initially initiated this, who started this whole movement, has suspended it a long while, they have the opinion that if they suspend it and really leave it as suspension, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will not be given much attention. But if they continue with the autopilot where each and everyone forces to sit at home one way or the other, then the government will see how critical it is leaving Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in detention, as he's been in detention has created is creating and still is creating a lot of tension in Southeast. But the fear is this: even if Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is released, will there not still be those who will still insist that, well, doesn't this, well, it all begins with we are following Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, but a lot of things are being done in the name of IPOB that is not even IPOB. They keep calling IPOB different names. Sometimes Imam Powerful have to come out severally to debunk, and sometimes as well, as events unfold, you find out that IPOB is actually innocent. They're very innocent. Events keeps unfolding to showcase that they're actually not the one. And if this autopilot continues, and people keep insisting that let autopilots continue, and people, UGM or whoever it is that is always hiding under the guise of chaos to cause a lot of mayhem, it will still bounce back and bounce on IPOB and still indirectly bounce on Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, saying, look at the people he has raised. But then, if you notice very well, they have suspended it. Indigenous people of Biafra, autopilot have said let them move on, so that tomorrow, if anything goes wrong, they say, well, that's not IPOB. But I feel that now that the indigenous people of Biafra, that's IPOB, have made up their mind to bring out their their security personnel, that's ESN, Eastern Security Network, to see how they can stop the enforcement of sit at home. I feel if they leave the bush and come on one out to see how they can afford to stop the enforcers of sit at home, they may likely come against Nigerian security, who are already being stationed in Southeast, to ensure that both ESN and those enforcing sit at home do not have a field day in Southeast. So we're going to have a situation in our hands. So I don't know how IPOB is going to enforce it, but I would have thought that by now that the security personnel should also see how they would ensure that these autopiloters do not harm or destroy the products or goods and services or people who right now the economy is so tough for Nigerians. So anything that will harden it or worsen it shouldn't be encouraged. Look at the amount of fuel being sold in Southeast, particularly in a southeastern zone. It's crazy. We shouldn't worsen the economic situation for them. That's what going to wrap it up. Let's meet in our conversation. What's a take? Do have a nice